And there it is.
There it is. There it is. Monty, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I just want to make sure, just doing a mic check real quick.
That's right.
Difficulties last week, so here we are. I told you, Monty, I'd be dancing a little bit. We got
all right. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's
get ready. Here
go.
we are.
Here we are. Another edition of Get Found
and Be Seen.
That's right. I love how many ways we could say that too. It's so cool.
It's endless.
Monty, you are the man. I just want to say that.
Okay.
Hey! First shot. That's good. That's good. Oh, man. It's great to be back. Another episode. Another one for the books.
Another one.
Right. Here we are. Here we are. So, cool. Monty, I'm excited about, first of all, today's going to be epic. We got so much going on. We just did an accountability group just now. We have this going on, and then we have a workshop later on that we're attending. We're so excited about it. But today, getting right to now, today's topic is going to be exciting. We're talking about hosting, right?
Hosting. Yes,
for your website. For your website and your videos.
For your website and your videos, but not in the same place.
Yeah,
because here's the thing. People misunderstand hosting.
Right.
They think hosting is what the person does when there's the party and they greet them and everybody comes in and say, hey, thanks for coming to the party. No. It's somewhat similar. But hosting is where websites live, videos live, and other things. It's not just websites and videos, but that's what we're going to be talking about. But in a nutshell, I like to say that hosting is just a computer that physically holds your stuff. Now, fancy things, there's more than one computer. It's redundant in case one goes down. There's another one. There's all that. But ultimately, it's just a computer out there. You upload your video to it. You build your website on it. You have your email in it. Something is hosting your service.
Right. Good to know. That's cool. I never thought about it like that. Although I do like the word hosting because I like hosting parties.
Right? Exactly. That's right. Yep.
On a place for your computer. That's really good. And that's helpful. I got to admit, Monty, when I think about the word hosting and some of this back end stuff, it intimidates me. You know, so for someone like you to be able to explain it so clearly, it's very helpful. It makes me more welcomed to it, and it makes it more doable in my mind, whether I do it or I have someone do it for me. So with people like you, like what you do is so important. As far as, you know, with us as entrepreneurs, small business owners, authors, speakers, coaches, whomever.
Yeah, you're not alone. There's lots and lots of people out there that know these concepts and know that the technology exists, but don't truly understand just the functionality. You don't need to know the details, but just the functionality. Because you say hosting, and it's like a domain is hosted somewhere. What?
Right.
But I thought a domain was the thing that points at your website or the thing that you type in. It's like, well, but it is a thing and it needs to live somewhere. So it's hosted through some company. And there's other fancy names for it. It's where it's registered, you know, but it's the same concept. There is a company that you pay so that you can use their services to manage this thing, whether it's your domain or your website or your videos. And there's tons of different companies. And with the hosting world, there's GoDaddy and plethora of other things. But that I use GoDaddy, and I hear people all the time say, "Oh, GoDaddy's so horrible. They're just a big company out for your money."
Mm,
And what it boils down to is that's why there's so many different companies, because there's people that want different types of things. So
right.
GoDaddy makes it very simple for a new user or an inexperienced user to be able to function in the internet world. Now, there's
Mm,
other hosting companies for websites and things that are more popular with web designers, like Kinsta and Flywheel, and they have their own advantages for developers and website designers. But when it's just somebody, I'm a small business owner. I just want my website. I don't need to build websites for other people. I just want my website. Then
right.
sometimes some of the other web hosting companies are too complex for them. They want something simple. So I don't feel that there's a right and wrong, good and bad. I feel that there is a level of service and a focus of service. And for my clients, GoDaddy does the trick for me.
Right. No, that's great for you to break. I appreciate you breaking that down. And that spells it out for our audience. It spells it out for me, because it's important for me to know. Because sometimes, like for me, I love doing my own sites, especially since you helped me out. You helped me out with my blog, my website, my wife's blog, my wife's website.
And it's looking awesome.
Oh, I appreciate that. I'm loving it. I'm proud of it. But I know for me and my clients, I like to provide something for them. But even with that, there are roadblocks where it's like, you know what, I'd push this off to someone else because I'd take too long doing this, or I'd get too caught up with this. So, but for you to spell that out is really, really helpful to say, okay, there are different options. For some reason, too, in my mind, I think about what you mentioned. I think about the whole thing with air traffic control.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever thought about that analogy, but things are pointing different ways and people going to different directions and information is going different directions and has to ping here and go there. And I don't even know if I'm using the words correctly or not, but that's what I think of too.
Well, that's a good point. And that's the reason to go over this is that you can hire other people to do these things. But
Yeah,
knowing what the words mean and
right,
knowing how things interact with each other empowers you to 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 get customer service. When you call up and you say, "Hey, I'm having this problem," if you can use the words that they understand and in the same way, because there's another thing is that sometimes people use a word, but their definition of it is not the same as the person on the other end of the phone, and so this customer service communication gap is a lot of just not understanding or not using the same term.
right. I can see that too. That probably happened to me too a couple of weeks ago.
It
I'm pretty
happens
sure
to
that's what
everybody.
happened.
It happens to absolutely everybody because we're all humans, and the person on the other
Right,
side is just a human. They aren't the ultimate representation of the company that you're calling. They're just
right,
another human.
right. Good point. Good point. Well put, Monty. And so you have videos, right? We have websites and we have videos. Let's speak to the video portion of it. So what are some videos that come to mind? What are some video hosting platforms that come to mind for you?
Well, the big one that everybody knows is YouTube. Anybody can upload to YouTube. They got free. They have paid levels for more stuff, but it's you can just start uploading videos and have a video channel. It's hosting right there on YouTube for free. Then there's Vimeo and Voomly and Streamable and on and on and on and all these different companies. Again, not any one of these companies is the best one because different people have different needs and
Right,
different levels of tech use. So some
right,
of these are super simple for drag and drop, and I know I can see what I need to do, um, but they might not do as many things. So it just depends if that person I just need to be able to drop them in and put them on my website. That's all I need to do. It's like, okay, that pick the one that you like the best. It's like, but if someone's like,
right,
oh, but I need to have it display on this and to go over to here and do this other thing. And then I want to be able to have this blog in here. And it's like, okay, well, maybe you want a specific thing. Maybe you want a paid for hosting platform. The advantage that most people use a paid platform for is so that I can show my video without YouTube trying to lure people away to other stuff.
right, right. Yeah, I think about examples like for what we do. I know I have one membership site that we use Vimeo because I don't want to use YouTube because of like what you mentioned. And I don't want other people seeing it. I want to be able to have videos where it's just there and it's safe and it's for people to be educated in my membership, in my community. So that's helpful to know. And so it's great that there's different options. Now, flip side, when it comes to putting out content and educating people out in the open sphere, for lack of better words, I love using YouTube because I feel like it travels farther. And with YouTube, you know, I do different strategies to help people to see my YouTube videos and for it to get visibility.
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah. So you can use YouTube and you can tell YouTube, okay, only display this video on this domain. So you can still have that functionality, but even when you say that, the video is showing on that domain, but it's also showing at the end of the video, hey, check out these other videos. And so in the education type of a website where you are trying to show them the next one of your videos, you don't want the YouTube thing saying, hey, check out all this other stuff. Squirrel, squirrel, shiny objects, come over here.
Right.
You know, so that's where the paid for hosted platform is nice, because you can have that show just your videos. So when they get to the end of the video, they do see a bunch of options, but they're all you.
Right.
And again, like you said, sometimes you want it to go out further, but other times you don't.
Right. And so what we're talking about right here is so good for our audience to know the difference, because that just tells us, and that's a good rule for marketing anyway. It's so important to be intentional. And so I know for me, when I'm working with clients, they're not thinking about being intentional, and you know, they just want to get the end result, which is right. They want to get their end result, but having strategies is super, super important so that you can have those different options, because each one serves its purpose really, really well.
So real quick, you just said the word strategy, and this is going a little bit off topic there, but
that's what we do.
That's what we do. This applies. This applies. So you have a strategy, the overall strategy of, I'm trying to get this video out there onto a platform so that people can see it.
Right.
But you can have different tactics to accommodate that strategy, to accomplish that strategy.
Right.
So the tactic can be, well, I want to get my video out on, or the strategies, I want to get my video out on platforms so people can see me. But the tactic is, I'm going to put this video on YouTube. I'm going to put this video on Vimeo, attach it to my website. You know, so you have all these different ways of accomplishing the overall strategy.
Right. Right. And that's a whole different episode in it of itself.
Oh, absolutely. That's why I didn't want to get too far off base there. Keep it tied together, that it's about options. It's about, I want to accomplish this type of a thing. That's the umbrella strategy. And then there's different ways of going about doing it.
Right, right. Super important. And I'm glad you mentioned that. Appreciate you going off topic. That's good.
Reeling it back in there.
Reeling it back in. So now what about, ads, the whole, actually before that, I want to say I've never used Voomly. You know, what are your thoughts on Voomly?
Voomly is just another company that does video hosting. It's for the company that made Toonly and Doodly, which is now owned by Russell Brunson. And he's really heavy in the Voomly thing. In fact, when you go to the Voomly website, you see Russell talking about all of his stuff there. And I got in on Voomly before Russell bought it. And it was when they first launched. So I did the whole lifetime thing. So I'm in their enterprise level. But I have shown a couple other people, and they've liked it enough that they've subscribed to it. So it apparently does a fairly good job and is easy to use. So, and Vimeo is, I've looked at that a little bit too. It's pretty much the same. I mean, it's all these companies have the same concept. They're just trying to provide the little nuances that appeal to this person or that person. So some people are going to like Vimeo better because of these nuances, not because, it hosts the videos and that one doesn't. No, they all do it.
Right. They all work. And that's important. That's important to note too. Paying attention and seeing if you have the time, or hire someone to help you and do it for you, but paying attention to see who can, which one will serve you the best. because a lot of times too, as marketers, sometimes you'll hear messages, don't do that one, do this one. That one's totally dead and wrong. And, and I get it, it's the whole thing of throwing rocks. But the challenge is a lot more people get confused in this area, this direction. The ones who might get attracted to that particular thing that people might be marketing to, I get that side, but it affects people in a negative way on the other side, so.
Well, people forget, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Don't fix it, right? It all works.
If you're like, hey, I've got a video hosting platform, it's called such and such, and it plays my videos and I'm happy. Don't do anything. Keep doing it.
Right.
If you're saying, every time I upload a video, it is this thing and there's this problem and I'm frustrated and I can't stand it. Well, then do something about it.
Right.
So it's that thing, that throwing rock thing, though. There's some people that get distracted. They're like, oh, that looks so awesome.
Right.
But they forget this is working fine.
It's fine, and that's the point. It all works. I've even used Dropbox. It still works.
Yeah.
Because I was very strategic with what I needed to do with it. So good point.
Absolutely.
So I wanted to say that because, that's one of the challenges that I don't take it personally. I don't have a pet peeve. It's just, I notice that people struggle with that when people throw rocks and they focus on one thing. It makes people say squirrel and they'll go to that direction.
Right.
It ain't broke, don't fix it.
Or they feel that they're not professional. Somebody might feel, oh, a video in the Dropbox. Oh, that's not professional.
Right.
It all depends on your client. Depends on what they're doing.
It all depends.
If you present it professionally, it can be professional.
What's up, Sonny? How's it going? Sonny is in the house.
Awesome.
The live stream queen. You like that, Sonny? But yeah, so it works. I appreciate you saying that. Now, what about Streamable? Have you used that at all?
No, actually, that's just one of the ones I wanted to have more than 2 on my list. So I looked up what's another big one, and that's the one that popped up. And so again, what I'm using works. I don't have any need to go research a bunch of other stuff. Next month, there'll be another one out anyway. So
true. True. That's right, Sonny. Sonny says live selling. You are the live selling queen. That's right.
Awesome.
Represent.
Cool beans.
But it's good stuff. I'm really grateful because I was speaking to an entrepreneur friend of mine a couple of weeks ago. He flew in from another state, from Georgia, and I shared with him how I do things, doing stuff online, putting these videos out and things like that. It's great. And he's like, "What's great about it?" And I'm like, "Dude, it's free TV." Like, coming from the entertainment background, all the things I had to do to get on TV, to promote a brand or promote what I was doing with dance at the time, it was a lot of work and there was a lot of pressure. And I was being directed by them on what, not exactly what to say, but I was given prompt questions and things like that. It was all pointed in a certain direction. But when you do stuff on video, you're able to direct your own stuff. You can have your own objectives. You can get your brand out there. It's free TV. So in my mind, I'm like, this is my focus. Even as an entertainer, even performing at a high level, still, I don't care about the other stuff. I'll take it. It's great, but I'm focused on that.
Exactly. Yep. When you're in control.
Exactly. You're in control. It's not being controlling. It's just being smart.
Yep. Not controlling, but being in control.
In control. There's a big difference with that.
Yep.
Right.
So you were just about ready to mention ads.
Ads.
So, and that's why that's the biggest reason why people wouldn't want to use YouTube and would like to have their videos hosted on their own platform or their own website, because they don't want YouTube to throw ads into their video. Because if you put it up on YouTube and it gets enough traction, unless you pay, if you're using the free version, they're going to use your video and stick ads in it. So there's the one reason that you might not want to use YouTube, is when you're trying to just show your audience a video without any interruptions or distractions.
Right. No, that's true. And I know some people wouldn't care too much about that. But someone like me, I care about that. I don't want my ad shown if I'm given it, and if I'm given it, if I'm there in my membership, I don't want it being shown. But again, out there with content, I'm okay with that.
Right.
Depends on what it
It's
is.
that strategy. It's that, okay, this type of stuff,
Strategy.
this is my free level of stuff. So if there's an ad mixed in with it, that's all right. But if someone's paying for my stuff, I
Right.
definitely don't want any interruptions in that.
Exactly. Because it affects the experience of the user.
Exactly.
Like, what is this? What? I mean, some people, they can get away with it. Very few, though. I'm one that's like, it's going to look tacky.
That, and it's distracting.
Correct.
It's
Correct.
that clickbait thing. It's that, hey, before they even see your video, they've already clicked on something and gone somewhere else.
True. Squirrel. How
Yeah.
many squirrels did you see, by the way?
Most of them. All of them. I see them all.
Right.
And I chase several of them. I don't know.
Right. That's true. That's good stuff, Monty. This is now, and when you mentioned good strategy too, and I love how you talked about having a combination of places. In your mind, like, where would one person start as far as strategy? I have some ideas, but I want to curious of what you think.
Well, I mean, when you're just getting started and you don't know necessarily your complete direction, you're going
Right.
to want to go to the big boys. You're going to want to be putting videos up on YouTube and in Facebook,
Right.
and then from there, it all depends. It depends on who is your target audience. For me, and the people that I'm looking at coaching, who are in the 40 to 60 range in age, Facebook's really good for that. Now if you're targeting some of the younger folks, and you're 30, give or take, Instagram is a little better. And then if you want to get into the 20s, you got to get into something new, TikTok, which is starting to get old. So something new is going to come out here soon. So,
Right.
and then, if you're more professional, then LinkedIn works better for you. And if you're more cutting edge, then some of these new ones that I don't even know the name of yet is going to be
Right.
something you want to get into. But it doesn't matter where you're at. You going to be across several platforms, but not all of them. Again,
Right.
it's down to, where is your audience? That's probably the biggest question you ought to ask before you start distributing, is where are they?
Right.
Other than that, hey, I'm just going to put something out. I'm going to do what Monty did and just put something out somewhere.
Right.
And then from there, I have to look and say, okay, now where do I target this stuff? I've got this going on YouTube with Carl, and Carl's got his thing, and I can put it up on my Facebook. But where am I going to find the rest of my audience?
Right. That's true. No, super true. I'm like, it's me starting when actually around the time of 2017, 18, 19. That's what I did. I was like the squirrel syndrome. That's what I was acting on. And I saw different people go to YouTube. I saw different people go to Facebook. And then, because what happens is certain platforms end up as being the hottest thing. It might even be recycled and come back as the hottest thing. And so
Right.
the temptation is to go chase it. And there's nothing, to a good extent, there's nothing wrong with that. But to have that strategy to say, where is my audience hanging out at? That's so key, like you mentioned. And to say, okay, what kind of content can I put out that's going to inspire them? And there's more in-depth things you can do. But starting out, keeping it simple, as we like to say, that's definitely what you can do.
And although another strategy could be, let me put out a little something everywhere.
Uh-huh.
And then based on the return, you can evaluate and find out, oh, well, I put that on Facebook and nothing happened. I put it on Instagram and I got 10 likes within an hour.
Right.
I mean, that's pretty conclusive.
Right.
And maybe not ultimate. You might want to keep doing that a little bit. You just keep putting out stuff, and then you start seeing, oh, well, I need to put more stuff out here. And then after a while, you need to forget about some of this other stuff because you got so much going on here.
Right. Right. And with even what you said, and I love all of that. I love all that. It's important to do that and sprinkle it out and test it out. I love to say testing it out.
Testing, absolutely.
You test it out and see what kind of results you get. And also, what kind of results do you want to get? Because for some people, the results might be, look, I just want to get more views. For other people, I want to get more sales. And if you want to get more sales, sometimes you may not, the results that, as far as the likes, won't even matter. You'll get some people who you'll get sales from, or you may, results vary for different people. You'll get those you may get those sales, but they won't be the people that liked or responded to your videos,
And vice versa.
and vice versa. So it's important to pay attention to that, but
Yep.
also to figure out what your goals, what your objectives are when you're putting out before you put out the content.
Yep. Even, when you try to do Facebook ads, you run into that concept, or even with Google ads. But definitely with Facebook, where right at the very beginning, they're like, okay, are you trying to get more visitors to your website? Are you trying to get more clicks on a link? Are you trying to get phone calls? Are you
Right.
trying? Yeah. So that's right off the bat, knowing your intent, which we can now transfer over to websites and videos and your hosting. Knowing what you need and what you want is the first step. So that way you can research a little bit and find out, oh, this company doesn't even do that thing I need, or this company does that thing and this company does that thing, but this one does it twice as cheap, or twice as better. Twice as better. I have good English.
It's Monday. It's Monday.
We're not here to teach English.
That's true. Thankfully not. You don't want to learn from me. But we having fun. We're having fun.
Absolutely.
So, and this is the part, Monty, that can, like I mentioned before, that can be intimidating. So, like how do you break that down for people? Like owning your own hosting versus your web designer providing it for you.
So there's where some people they want to go the easy route and they say, hey, I don't understand any of that stuff. Just take care of it all. And that's appealing. That is nice.
Right.
Where, hey, this guy's just doing it all. I just pay him some money, tell him what I want, and it comes up
Right.
good. And that's great while it's working. Now, if heaven forbid the guy gets hit by a bus, what happens to your website? Now, if it's
Right.
part of a large website design company, you're probably okay. They've probably got several people and they're going to fill in and things are going to be okay. But if you're on that, the one guy, the solopreneur that's doing a website agency by himself, like me, if something happened to me, I don't want my clients to be left stranded and in a lurch.
Right.
And I've helped many people out of that, because they come to me and they say, hey, my website's gone. My website guy passed away and my website's just gone. I have nothing.
Wow.
I've also had it where the website guy flaked, moved out of the country, and took all my money. So there's lots of different scenarios that people are afraid of.
Right.
And then they're like, but it's so intimidating. I don't want to do it myself.
Right.
So there's that contrast. But once you can leap in and say, okay, I'm gonna own it, that doesn't mean I have to do it all. That just means that I'm in control. So I can be in control and say, okay, I'm going to hire this guy off of Fiverr, or my buddy or my aunt or whoever. I'm going to have them come in. I'm going to give them login rights. They can log in and do all that stuff for me. But if something happens to them, they win the lottery and they don't want to work anymore, whatever, I can just hire somebody else, or I can go in and fumble through it myself a little bit until I can find somebody else. I'm not stranded. I'm not lost.
Right.
So there's that thing. What's most important? Some people are like, if I lose my website, go buy another one. No big deal.
Right.
Other people like you, it's like, but that's me. My website's me. If I lose that, that's devastating. I have to start all over again.
Right. That's true. It's important to me because even me, with coming from an entertainment background, that's a big part of me. My persona, my personality, what I want to present. Even moving and navigating in this business space, I had to find my way because I listened to so many different thought processes or different thought leaders, and I didn't want to go in the directions they went. I wanted to go find my way and find my direction, find my voice. And so my website, my web hub, which is what I have, that is super important for me. And it means a lot because I'm able to communicate in the way I want to, that makes sense, that's clear. Not everyone might see a specific message, but they get a chance to see the hub and they get more of the story, more of the journey, and that can help them out on their journey.
And you went through that exact journey of, I have a website and now I don't. I'm trying to get somebody to work on it, and they're telling me it's that the last guy didn't do it right, and now they're telling me I need to do these things I don't even understand the terms.
Yes.
And so that's where, for your scenario, it turned out where, hey, I need someone to show me how I can control my stuff,
right.
and make you feel comfortable and safe.
Right. Because that's the thing. I mean, honestly, I loved when someone else did it for me. I loved when someone else did. You do all that. But when it was time to reinvent, that's when all the rain came, man. It was a hot mess. It was hard to transition because I just threw everything in their lap. I didn't have any control. And then even from that experience, Monty, that was 2018-ish. And I'm just getting on my feet when it comes to having that web hub. That's that perfect web hub that I wanted. And it's been like 3 months. So, but it's been a huge shift for me. And I'm able to make more impact faster.
That's awesome. It's another testimonial of when you feel confident and secure, then everything else is confident and secure.
Right. Right on. That's good stuff, Monty.
I like it.
Making it clear. Now I can say it clearly without any anxiety. It's a big deal.
Yeah, frustration and anxiety, that holds back a lot of people.
Right.
You know,
right.
And I should say that holds back everybody. Some people more than others. But if you're frustrated and anxious over something, you aren't able to give your all, because part of your focus is dealing with the negativity.
True. And I love that you said that too. It affects people in different ways. At the end of the day, you're not able to give your best. That's what you want to do. And so for videos and websites, it's important. That helps you to give your best.
Yeah. And creating a video or working on a website, if you're not in the right mindset, it's practically impossible. And the mindset can be destroyed so easily when in technology. It's like, oh, I have this idea, I'm going to do this thing. And then you go in and your computer needs an update, or the website you want to visit's down, or, I mean, there's so many different little things that'll thwart your efforts. And then it's just like all my momentum just fell in a hole. I just came to a complete stop.
True. Not true. I've felt it. I've experienced it. But that's why it's important, for people like you, you're able, like, I give this example. I was in I mentioned it before too, but being on a call with a certain provider, I wasn't able to get what I needed met, my needs met. And then I spoke to you. I got it done in 2 to 5 minutes. And that just does so much for the mentality, for the mind.
Right. You were able to move on to the next thing. Before, you were stuck on something. It wasn't even something that kept you from moving forward, but because it was stuck in your head, it made you physically stuck, and you weren't able to move forward.
Correct. And even as I kind of tiptoed forward, because I had it on my mind, it was on my mind, and I was anxious about it, and I was frustrated about it. So I wasn't able to be at my fullest potential.
Right. Yep. And yeah, so that manifests itself differently for different people. But that bottom line is that you're not at your best.
Right. Right. And it's interesting because that's an interesting point. Like having a platform like this and having the hosting for your videos and websites, it being able to help you to be at your best. That's important to think about.
Yeah.
And the benefits, I know for me, it helped me to be at my best because I'm able to present. If I need to speak to anyone, if I'm in a conversation, casual conversations. I was at an event a couple of weeks ago where, actually a couple of events, but I'll say one of them where I was hanging out with a friend of mine. We were sitting down, we were eating lunch, we're talking. He talked about, hey, I need to get I need to work on my video presence, etc. And I'm like, dude, that's what I do. And I was able to give him tell him this is what I do. All he had to do was go to my website. That was it. And it's that simple, but not having that available for you to communicate to people is a challenge. It's a problem if you're not careful. So you want to be able to have that for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good example. That's similar to your friends that we're helping get their website together. They're experiencing that right now, where they're like, somebody says, "Hey, that sounds awesome. What's your website?" "Ugh, I don't have one yet. Oh
Yeah.
man, that's definitely a mental setback right there.
Right.
But
Right.
they take it as motivation and moving things forward. So
Right.
it can be
And
a
when you have
positive thing.
right, and so when you have it, you have that peace of mind.
Yep. Yep.
I don't know about you, Monty. I love peace of mind.
I like the whole mind, but I'll take a piece of it.
That was good. Oh, better than no mind.
It's better than no mind. Yeah, absolutely. There's much of that. Too much of that going around.
Oh my gosh. Don't let my wife hear that. She'll have a play. She'll play with that all day.
So let's see here. We were talking about owning your own hosting versus a web designer doing it. I had a note just to mention that the domain is the same idea.
Mm,
You want to own your domain. You want it to be in your account that you can log into and you can lock and unlock and do whatever to your domain. And
right.
the web design company can tell you the things that you need to set, or you could, again, give them enough access to affect the settings, but not actually do anything to the domain. Because domain theft is a huge thing right now. It has been for some time, but it's just getting more and more and more. Where sometimes it's a web design company and they want to hijack it because you've been paying them and now you want to move somewhere else. And they're like, yeah, but we own the domain. So if you want it, you need to pay us X number of whatever ridiculous amount of money.
Right.
Especially when you're paying for a domain costs like $20 a year.
Yeah.
On the average. So websites, domains, your videos, you want to have control of them.
Right.
And having your own hosting is the way to do that. But again, that's not saying that's the right way. That's the only way. That's the way you should do it. No. That's just one thought process. Because again, there's the other people that are like, hey, I just need someone to take care of it. I don't have the bandwidth or the time to do that. And some people's mentality is, all right, my website's gone. Well, I'll call these guys up and tell them I don't have the bandwidth or the time. I need this. Here's what it used to look like. Whatever. So it's not a end of the world thing if your website is lost, but for some people it can feel like it.
Right. Absolutely. And then, especially you have clients coming to you. I've had clients come to me and say, hey, the website's down. What's going on? Or I can't get access. And, that doesn't make me feel at peace, especially when you have, and that, of course, those are the times where everything else is going on.
And that's always the way it works.
Of course.
Yep.
Perfect. Now, I got a question for you, Monty. What about like domain names as far as the end of it? .com, .org, .ai. I know there's different variations. .biz, .net. Do you have I'm curious about people's thoughts on this. Like, what are your thoughts?
Well, society has evolved where the .com is the norm and what people are accustomed to hearing. We've been trained a little bit to think that .org is an organization, most likely a nonprofit, which is not necessarily the case. Anyone can buy a .org for any reason. And then they have all these other ones like, oh, your .com is taken up, so you could have .net or .biz or a bunch of these other ones. And so then it's turned into a business of, oh, you have a .com? Well, you should get the .biz and the .net and the everything else so that nobody else gets your name.
Yeah, but I can tell you get that a lot, huh?
Yeah. Ultimately, though, it's what works for you. Again, so in the case of Jim and his AI software, the copy and content .ai was obviously the way to go.
Right.
But just because it's an AI thing doesn't mean you have to go with the AI necessarily. I think that the key with a domain name is that it needs to be easy to remember. It needs to be easy to say over the phone to somebody. And it needs to be easy to type. If you can have, it doesn't matter if the name is your business name or has nothing to do with your business. If it's easily remembered, easily typed, and easily said over the phone, that's a good domain name. It used to be that there was SEO stuff, and it's like, oh, if you can have the name of your city and this stuff in there, and they still promote that, but it affects things so minuscule. It's really about the human. It's really about what is memorable, what is going to stick in their head. And then just like with advertisement, it needs to be more than memorable. You need to know what it ties it to. So yes, if your domain name says, I love fishing, and you sell concrete blocks, it's probably not the right setup.
Right.
But you don't have to have it be the name of my business, concrete.com, or anything of that nature. It can be something like easy to remember. I love concrete. That's pretty easy to remember. Pretty easy to spell. I could say that over the phone, although it's probably taken. But the key there is just make sure that you like it.
Right. And I love that because it's interesting because, of course, when with the boom of funnels, a lot of people started saying, "Hey, I love I off of my copy, I might get a domain name based off of that, not exactly my company name." But I feel like there's a shift starting to happen where it's kind of going back to, I don't know, you can have your company domain, or I feel like there's just a shift in general. Even there's a shift in general with funnels and websites, which are the same. We talked about that, but it's interesting to see there's some kind of shift going on within the next couple of years moving forward. That's my opinion. That's what I think. That's what I just noticed. I like to kind of see where the puck is going.
Yeah. Well, funnels stirred up the pot. And that's when people really started buying up more domains. I mean, there's been domain hoarders for a long time, and reselling domains is a huge business, actually. People just buy up domains that they think people might want. And that way, when people do want them, they have to pay them for them. So not that I like that business model, but it's a business model and it's legit. So there you go. But right. The funnel thing that they suddenly created because each funnel is its own website. And so people are, I want this domain name to go to this one. I want this domain name to go to that one. And I've got a bunch of different domain names for that exact same purpose too. Betterbusinessbuilder.com and startupwithconfidence.com and all these different things that I could point to this thing or point to that thing. And so that's a cool, but again, not necessary. Because you can have subdomains. You can have one domain and make a bunch of subdomains. So you can have go.mydomain.com and buy.store. and whatever you want. So there's a ton of different ways to accomplish the same result. But people like domains. And I think you're right. There's this shift. They just added in a whole bunch new of the TLDs, which is .com, .org, .net. They call those TLDs.
Okay.
And yeah, they have, I can't remember which one. Google just brought one out. I should know it off the top of my head. We could Google it and find it. But anyway, they just came up with one that was like, why would you do that? It's like a name that I'm going to have to look it up now. But anyway, that it could mean more than one thing. It could be confusing. Right. And now, since they did that, Google said, oh, hey, we're getting out of domains.
Wow. Recently. Wow.
Yeah. Like, no.
It's a big deal. That's a big deal. Well, I tell you, Monty, I'm glad we can have these conversations because some of this stuff I have no clue about.
But this one comes from. Go ahead.
I'll say the thing though, it's talking about it in this way simplifies it for people to understand. It makes it more digestible.
And it all comes from people who have come to me, and then I've helped them through various scenarios, and that's where I just collect all this information from their point of view.
Hmm.
Is what I think about it is minuscule importance. The other than a technical aspect of it, have I come across something that works better than something else because of a technical reason? But as far as,
Right.
well, I like it for these reasons, half the time those reasons mean nothing to those people, and the reasons that are important to them don't mean anything to me. So it's more important for me to just step over into their shoes
Hmm.
and just say, okay, well, they need these things, and therefore that's how we'll approach it.
Right. That's great. And that just that makes your content more easier to understand. So
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Well, I think we covered hosting fairly well.
Fairly well.
Yeah, that
I have a better
so
understanding of it.
I like to promote the idea of wherever it's going to be, if you put as much of your stuff into one hosting platform. So that way you only have one customer service to deal with, and your domain and your website and your other stuff that need to connect are all in the same thing and can work together easier. Not that you can, I mean, you can have stuff everywhere and it still can work together. It just means that you have to log into this account and log into that account and set up this setting and set up that thing. And if something breaks, then you got to log into that thing and log into that thing. And, so again, personal preferences. Sometimes it's I bought the domain over there a long time ago and I just haven't gone through the steps to transfer it. And I have the
Right.
hosting over here and I have my app written over here. And maybe it's too much trouble to put it all into one space. So there's, again, personal preference there. But if you're just starting out, it is nice and tidy to put things into one account. So there's my little tidbit of advice.
That's good. Because I'm one of the ones who had different accounts. and the struggle's real.
Yeah, well, sometimes it's not sometimes. You will have to have a bunch of different accounts for a bunch of different things. So I'm looking at,
Right.
well, how can I minimize that? I know I can't have one account for everything. I
Right.
know there's these companies out there that say, oh, you just buy one subscription to us and we take care of all these other things. And
Right.
again, for some people that works great. And for other people, like, but so what you're looking for is that, oh, this is great. And there's a good test, a good way to test something. If you are talking about something and you say, oh, this thing's pretty good, but that might be an indicator that it's not as good as you thought it was. If you can say, oh, this thing's pretty good, and you're then probably more tuned in on the positive side of that.
I love that. And at the least, it might need some more thought. Might need you to think more through it.
Right.
Yeah.
Just an indicator of, let me analyze that. Instead of just plowing through it like I do every day.
That was good. That was a good add-on to your Monday moment with Monty. Ooh, I saw what you did right there. That was good.
Well, I'll have to do an amendment.
That was good. No, I gotta think about that. We had some deep conversation today, Monty. I love it.
That was a good topic.
And the day's just beginning.
That's why we do it on Monday. The whole week's just beginning. We give us the rest of the week to churn this stuff up. Let it simmer on the back burner.
Right. Love it. So how can we keep all this simple, Monty?
Keeping it simple. Hosting is just a place for your stuff. That's about as simple as you can get with hosting. It's a place for your stuff. If your stuff is a video, if your stuff is a website, if your stuff is a podcast, it needs someplace to live.
Right.
So that's the hosting part.
That's good. That's well put. I have nothing else to add on to that. I want to leave it alone because I'll mess it up. Although as an artist, I do love messing things up because I could create art from it. But I'm gonna leave it alone. You like that?
That was good. That was good. Awesome.
Mm,
I'm definitely glad we touched base on this topic. I've been getting a lot of questions about the domain thing
mm.
and the hosting part of that, because yeah, people just think hosting means websites. Hosting is websites, but no, hosting is a place for your stuff.
Good. That's good. That's helpful for me. And then you added on. I saw what you did too. You added on podcasts too. That's good. You
Right.
said
Well, I thought of that.
that's
That
good.
was a spur of the moment thought, but it's like, hey, we're on a podcast. We need some place for it to be hosted so that people can go to it without us sending it to them. That was a
Right.
good thing about hosting. Hosting is so that people can go and see your stuff without you having to send it to everybody.
Right.
Because you could get your videos out to your email list. Although you would still need some place for the video to be hosted so that when they clicked on the email, they could watch it.
Right.
So there
Right.
you go.
Right.
Which could be Dropbox.
Right. I saw you tied all that in there. That was good.
I'm trying. I mean, it all ties together.
It's Monday and we're on fire.
I'm starting out the week good.
That's how
It was
we do
raining this morning here, and so I figured I need to add some sunshine.
Add some sunshine. Well, Monty, if people are having or even listen to this episode, which they will and are, and they're having trouble, and they're thinking, you know what? I hear what you're saying. I love how simply you put it, but how do I start? Where can I go if I need help and I don't want to do it myself, or I need instruction on how to do it? Where can they go to find this information?
If
from
somebody
you?
wants to have a little bit of help so that they can do it themselves,
Mm,
or if they want to have a little bit more help so that we can do it together, or if they just want to pay someone to do it for them, they can go to montyarmstrong.com.
MontyArmstrong.com. I love that. Well put, my man. Love it.
So what about videos? If someone was saying, hey, I need to figure out this video thing, I need to know where to put them and how to distribute them and how to make them, where should they go?
They should go to carlaleen.com. That is my website, my web hub, and you will find the information there. I basically I focus on presence, which affects every other area. So that's where you can go.
Awesome.
There you have it. You've been listening to Get Found.
And be seen.
Talk to you later.
Peace out.
Peace out.